Good morning, everyone. It's a happy Tuesday, even though I didn't sleep at all last night. Well, I think I probably had a half hour all night long. I just could not get off to sleep. I even tried herbal nightal. No, no different. So, no doubt this afternoon I'll be having a nap on the sofa. Right, me lovelies. What do you think I've got for you today? Something you wouldn't expect. It's still child abuse. So, because, I need to give a voice to the voiceless, but it's not from a parent. It's not from a friend. It's not from a babysitter. It's not from a teacher. Who do you think it could be? Who do you think? Have a guess. No? Well, while you're thinking, please leave your DNA on my like button and share this if you can, and leave a comment. It all helps into the YouTube algorithms. As you probably know, you're on other YouTube sites, so you know how important it is just to smash that like button for me. Just check it's working. And if you want to buy me a coffee, the details are scrolling at the bottom. And also, if you want to send me a story for me to cover, send me an email to my Gmail account, and I'm happy to look into it for you. Well, like I said, this child abuse isn't from a parent, it's not from a teacher, it's not from a friend or family, or a doctor. Would you believe it if I told you? Let me see if I can add this a minute. I've got to re-add it. There's me getting all excited. There we go. What do you think Sisters of Nazareth are? I think it's in Scotland. Any guesses? What would you normally class a sister as, not as in a family relation? Yep, a nun or nuns. It reminds me of Nuns on the Run. But yeah, Carol Birdsies, or however you pronounce it. And I'm not going to pronounce Eileen's second name, no, I said Alden, and Dorothy Kane. So there's three people, three nuns who did child abuse. It is an old case, but I'll just read through a little bit and then I've got some things. So it says here, 2 nuns carried out a 6-year campaign of historical abuse at a children's home. Marie O'Gorman, aged 79, and Mary Maguire, aged 68, terrorised 7 vulnerable youngsters who was in their care at Nazareth House in Glasgow. O'Gorman began her services at Sister of Nazareth congregation in 1963. That was before I was born. Her first victim was alleged to be aged between 4 and 8 years old when he pushed O'Gorman for upsetting his sister. Glasgow Sheriff Court heard how O'Gorman described as the disciplinary of the home and struck the boys with his bare buttocks with a leather harness. The sobbing child was blooded and cried for help as a result of the attack between 1975 and 1979. O'Gorman was also abusive towards the same boy while he was in a bath. The boy's sister, when aged between 3 and 7, when she was hit on the body by O'Gorman. The girl was also hit on the buttocks with a slipper. The victim, official Lauren Atchison, said the victim recalled if she wet the bed, O'Gorman would take her to the bathroom, force her to stand in the freezing bath and pour cold water on her. The same victim was made to wear a nappy in front of other children, which made her feel degraded. The second girl was aged between 10 or 11 when O'Gorman struck her with a leather belt on the hand for not eating her vegetables. My nan did that to me. But it wasn't a leather belt. I think, what was it? I think it was a stick of some form. Yeah, we was all gathered round the table having dinner, and there was plenty of leftovers because my nan used to put, like, the potatoes, the vegetables, everything in single pots on the table, so you literally got the spoon and helped yourself. I happened to be sitting a bit too close to my nan, and my nan was really strict. I loved her to bits, but blimey, was she bloody strict. And I had the audacity to ask for more. And she called me a fat cow. Yep, she called me a fat cow. And at the time, I was dead skinny, not like I am now. And she slapped me on the back of my hand with a stick. And she said, "You never ask for more." And I thought, "Oh, okay, I won't ask for more anymore." So, yeah. So that's a bit, that just sort of like brought back some memories. Right, getting back to it. The victim recalled crying after the incident and went on to eat all of her meals. The court heard Maguire joined the congregation in 1975 and worked at the Nazareth House between 1978 and 1981. Her first victim was 10 years old when Maguire struck the girl on the body with a leather belt for being cheeky. The buckle hit her eye, which caused a bruise. The same girl recalled being struck on the leg with Maguire's hand after losing a sandal on a trip to Ayrshire. Maguire's second victim was aged between 7 and 10 when she struck him with a belt in front of the other children. She went on to put the boy over her knee and smacked him up to 5 times, leaving him in tears. Now, I know years ago people used to say, "Right, bend over my knee and I'll slap you." But I never recall anyone actually doing it. I just thought it was a terminology thing that people say but never do. You know, you get smacked. I mean, I got, blimey, I won't go too depth in that, but I got smacked a lot as a child. And but even though I got smacked, I never was put over someone's knees to be smacked. Right, back to the story. The boy's brother was also a victim at the hands of Maguire, who repeatedly struck when he was aged between 8 and 11 years old. Maguire later shouted at the 16-year-old girl for misbehaving in a chapel. Miss Atchison said she would teach her not to do it again. Maguire took her hairbrush and struck her on the back of the head, which made her cry and become fearful. Wow, I wouldn't want to be hit on the back of her head with a hairbrush. The final victim initially recalled Maguire being nice to her when she moved into the home. However, the girl was aged between 5 and 6 and stated Maguire struck her again with a leather belt and recalled it felt nippy. I wouldn't call being slapped with a belt nippy. I'd say that's bloody painful. The court heard that Maguire had left the nunnery after 1981 and spent the last 40 years as a care worker. Well, you can imagine what's probably gone on in her life as a caregiver, can't you? I was going to put myself up loud, shamming it. Move myself. Right, there we go. Right, let's go back to where I was. Yeah, so the court heard that Maguire had left the nunnery after 1981 and has spent the last 40 years as a care worker. Well, I wouldn't want to be cared by that person. Excuse me. Maguire of Lockjaw Fife pleaded guilty to 2 charges causing unnecessary suffering and 1 assault. O'Gorman, who now resides in Ireland, in the meantime admitted 1 charge of causing unnecessary suffering and 3 assaults. The sentence was deterred until next month, pending background reports by Sheriff Louise at Arl Casey, who bailed both women in the meantime. Now, let's see if it says anything more, because it says read more. Why do I have... No, I don't want to take part in a flipping survey. No, that's just giving me a load of junks. So I've read that one. Let's see if there was the other one I had. Oh, I've just read the entire story by the wrong people. That one I just said still happened at the same place. But this is another case where they name 3 other people. Oopsie daisy. That's what I get for having so many tabs up and just trying to do the research and lack of sleep. Oh my Christ. Right. So it's still the same thing. Nuns, abusing children. But these 2 former nuns and a retired support worker have been convicted of abusing vulnerable young children at children's home for more than 40 years ago. This way, guys, you get 2 stories for the price of 1. So hit that like. You're not hitting to like me, you're hitting to like the story and to give a voice to the voiceless. Right, here we go again. Oh, this is going to do my dyslexia a lot good, isn't it? I've got to practice reading without my dyslexia getting the better hand of me, because it sits here and I see a word and it doesn't come out the way it is. And then I can see another word and I get all tongue tied. So, yeah. Right, let's see how we go. Carol Birds, 75 years old. Elin McNeely, 78, and Dorothy Kane, 68, were found guilty of subjecting multiple victims to cruel and unnatural treatment between 1972 and 1981. Well, I know as a young child, I was in various children's homes, and I'm so glad I did not go to Nazareth, because that would have been appalling. I was born in 67. 67. Sorry, I had to do that. I've heard that everywhere. Right, I'm on it. I'm on it like a bonnet. The offences took place at 2 homes in Lasswade and Kilmarnock, both run by the Catholic Order Sisters of Nazareth. Prosecution presented multiple strands of evidence, including verbal accounts from former residents and an ex-member of staff and a social worker. Following a 5-week trial at Edinburgh Sheriff Court, Birds, who was known as Sister Carmel Rose, was found guilty of 13 charges, including assault to severe injury. Her offences included rubbing urine-soaked bedding on children and forcing food and soap into their mouths. Wow, that is disgusting. I bet the child felt really horrible as well, having the urine-soaked bedding rubbed on her. That's just terrible. And I had to have had soap in my mouth as well. My nana did that to me because I called her a pig. I was trouble. I really was trouble with a capital T. It's another story. We were sat around the table and children weren't allowed, me and my twin brothers weren't allowed seconds, but the adults could have seconds because they were older. That's what my nan said. And my nan already had quite a big plate of food and she finished it. And then she went to put some more on, which I would say was equals the size of a child's portion. And when I just looked at the plate, I got no filter. The word pig just fell out of my mouth, as it does. And even now as an adult, I don't have no filter to my mouth. Words just come out, and sometimes I can offend somebody, or I say things out aloud. Instead of keeping them in my head, they just come out. And that's even if I'm in a shop shopping and someone's being really a pain in the ass. And so, yeah, capital T, trouble. Right, so as I said, her offences included rubbing urine-soaked bedding on the children and forcing food and soap into their mouths. She also locked one child in a cupboard and another in an unlit cellar without access to water. She was also found to have repeatedly assaulted children, often using implements such as a belt, a wooden ruler, and a stick. That's my nan all over. That really is. McNeely, who was known as Sister Mary Eileen, was found guilty of charges including assault. As well as violently assaulting young children, she also forced them to stand in cold showers and sit in cold baths. So this might actually be the people that I was originally talking about, because it's hitting children on the buttocks again. Am I sick? This is what no sleep does to someone's brain. Today's only going to get worse, I know it. She used a hairbrush to hit one child on the buttocks and hurt another with a metal comb, refusing to brushing his stop brushing his hair despite him being in pain. I'll read that again. She used a hairbrush to hit one child on the buttocks and hurt the other with a metal comb, refusing to stop brushing his hair despite him being in pain. Kane was also found guilty of 2 charges of cruel and unnatural treatment for repeatedly grabbing a boy, including by the hair, and restraining him by forcing her to her knees onto his chest. That sounds complicated, but I have read that right. She also failed to intervene when witnessing another member of staff assaulting the child and forced the second young person into a cupboard before locking him in. Those children, they must be scarred for life. You know, they must have agoraphobia, anxiety of small spaces and things, because that's got to affect them in the long run. All the victims, who are now all adults, were aged between 5 and 14 when the abuse began. On the 15th of January 2026, so this year, it's taken that long to come to court, from like 1979. Wow. How can anyone, well, I know if you were abused, you would remember the abuse. But how the 3 nuns can remember what they did, I would find that a bit harder, because I'm 58 and I struggle to remember what I did last year or last week, even yesterday. Anyway, Birds of Wallsend, Tyne and Weir was jailed for 15 months. McNeely, I really can't pronounce her name, of Bishopsbriggs, East Dunbar, Bartonshire, was made subject to a 12-month probation order and ordered to perform 240 hours of unpaid work. She was also ordered to remain in her home address between the hours of 4 p.m. and 9 p.m. But no, 4 p.m. to midnight for 9 months. I told you, I can look at a word and something totally different falls out my mouth. Right. Kane of Lasswade was given a community service order with the requirement to complete 150 hours of unpaid work and for it to be completed within 9 months. Faith Curie, the prosecutor fiscal for Lothian and Border at the Crown Office and Procurator Official Service, said, God blimey, it's testimony. Carol Birds, Eileen, and Dorothy were entrusted with the care of vulnerable children, but instead they betrayed the trust and inflicted lasting harm through their criminal actions. It is now a matter of public record that they gravely breached their duty of care while holding the positions of trust and authority at Nazareth House. Although these offences took place decades ago, which I said a few sentences ago, such abuse has never been acceptable and should never happen. Exactly. I mean, I was smacked as a child, but I know there's smacking and abuse. I was smacked and hit by my nan and my mum. and it's never done me any harm. I remember what they did to me, um, but, it's never gone away. So, the charge of, yeah, I just read that bit. Scotland's prosecutor remain fully committed to bring a non-recent child abuse cases before the courts, no matter how much time has passed since these crimes were committed. Well done for Scotland's prosecutors, because there must be hundreds of cases where abuse or things like that were taken place years and years ago, like decades ago, and it can now be brought forward to a judge for those people that abuse the children to be charged with it. So it's good that it's all coming forward. I have got a short video to play you, so I need to take me off stage. Need to find that one. Hang a minute, bear with. Yeah, I need to remove her for a minute because I'm not sure. Oh yeah, it's that one. So hang a minute. These are only short interviews or questions. I think it's only the one person that's answering for it. Come on. Want sound? Is that a video? Oh, hang a minute. Bear with me, guys. That video does not want to sync with StreamYard. Hang on a minute. Let's start again. Because I know oh no, have I deleted it completely? I know last night Jay from Guilty of Crime, she had problems with either her internet or StreamYard. Now I've gone completely lost the video feature. Bear with, I'll try and find it. Bear with. I've got to find it again. I found it once. I should have downloaded it. Oh dear. Right, it's not on that one, so let's get rid of that page. Is it on this page? Bear with, I will try and find it, guys. Might help if I search for video instead of news. Let me see if that's the right one. No, don't know if that was the right one. This one might be a video. Right, I think this is a minute. Let me just hear it for a minute. Come on then, play. Just see if it's the right one. I'm just checking this is the right one before I share it. N no, let me stop that one. I'm so sorry about this. I did have the right page up, but then I went and, um, took it off. So let me find if I can find it here. Videos. Season 2. No, it's definitely not a season. Oh, well. I can't believe I got rid of that. Let me just see. See if I can find it. Right. Video. Let's type it in. It might be quicker. I do appreciate your patience and waiting for me. Video of 3 nuns accused child abuse. Excuse me while I have a quick vape on my vape. No, I bet you after I end this stream. Found it. Found it. Let's hope it syncs with StreamYard. So let me remove that completely and put myself back up there. Remove that one. Remove from that one. Start afresh. Share screen. I think what it was, I shared the image rather than the thing. So share, and then while I play it, I will come back into StreamYard.
Would there be a minute?
Just stop talking. Shush. Pause. Pause. I might as well allow notifications and then. Right, so yeah, so it looks like we're good to go. So turn your volume up because I've got the volume as high as I can have it. So yeah, you might have to turn your volume up a little bit high. Right, so it says, warning, this video may contain scenes and some viewers may find distressing. So, you know, you got to look after your mental health. If you are distressed from it, I'd advise, you know, to go onto a different channel to look for something different because, you know, I don't know what it's going to show. So I'm going to be reacting to this exactly at the same time as you guys are. So
were you aware of any children being force-fed any food? No. Did you ever witness that or do it yourself?
And I never did it myself. It's always like that. I got too sleepy with him.
Right, okay.
Where's my volume?
Would there ever be a time
I turned my microphone
which would result in being punished by getting struck with an implement? Like, for example, a belt, cane, slipper. Were children ever struck to the head or upper body?
No.
I can't work
Did you ever
out.
carry out punishments?
No, I didn't want to turn my headphones off.
Did you ever strike a child with an implement to the head or upper body?
No.
Was punching and kicking children acknowledged as a set punishment?
No, never.
We ask these questions. Was pulling hair an acceptable punishment?
No.
Was dragging a child by hair an acceptable punishment?
No.
Say a child wet a bed, water being thrown over them?
I've never seen that happen.
Were you ever aware of children being locked away in isolation without clothing or heating?
No.
So really short and sweet. I will play it again because I was flapping around with my flipping. I bet it's not going to happen now, is it? Because I was flapping around with my headphones and talking over it. So it's only 1 minute, 6 seconds long. So I'll play it again. And this time I will shut my mouth up. Zippity-doo. Let me just check it's still on there.
Witness that or do it yourself?
And I never did it myself. It's always like that. I got too sleepy with him.
Right, okay. Would there ever be a type of behaviour which would result in being punished by getting struck with an implement? Like, for example, a belt, cane, slipper. Were children ever struck to the head or upper body?
No.
Did you ever carry out punishments?
No.
Using your hands or belt? Did you ever strike a child with an implement to the head or upper body?
No.
Was punching and kicking children acknowledged as a set punishment?
No, never.
We ask these questions. Was pulling hair an acceptable punishment?
No.
Was dragging a child by hair an acceptable punishment?
No.
Say a child wet a bed, water being thrown over them?
I've never seen that happen.
Were you ever aware of children being locked away in isolation without clothing or heating?
No.
Well, I think they are liars. What do you all think? I think they're absolutely full of bullshit, literally full of bullshit. Of course, they witnessed it all, and of course, they administered all the punishment to those children. And I just hope the children are leading normal lives now. Well, they're not children, are they? They're flipping adults. But I hope, and I hope the adults who were children at the time of the abuse, uh, living a normal life. They've got family, and they will never do what happened to them to their own children. And as I said, my nan was really strict with me, and my mum was as well. And I was a bit of a trouble. I was a bit of a rebel. I back chatted, and every time I was being told off by my mum or my nan, they always said I had bitchy eyes. I'd look at them bitchy, and then I'd get stuck for that. I can't help the way I look. Apparently, I used to eye roll quite a bit too. I think we can all probably relate to that, can't we? But out of all the stuff that happened to me as a child and a teenager, with like going into foster care, children's homes, etc., I never did any harm to my children. I never smacked them. I didn't smack them for one reason. I am heavy-handed, and I don't know my own strength when I slap. And when I sort of like mess around with my son who's 28 and I go to slap him, it leaves a red mark on him. And I'm like, oh, sorry, you're right. And he goes, yeah, of course I am. He goes, it was just a tickle. But I know, if it leaves a mark, it hurts. So I've never slapped my children for being told, if they did wrong. I used to find other ways to tell them off without smacking, because I don't think you need to smack children. I might be wrong. Put it in the comments. I'd like to hear everyone's views. For all the newcomers that came over from Guilty of Crime, I appreciate Jay and her mods sharing my link last night. That really does help me. And if you can share my channel as well. Once I get up to about 75 viewers, I will start doing lives. And then by then, my back screen should arrive. And then, I can do proper lives and so forth. But I did one live a couple of weeks ago, and I've only been doing this like 3 weeks now. And I did one a couple of weeks ago, and not one person came into chat. Admittedly, I only had like 18 subscribers, but I really felt like getting the violin out and going. Yes, just crazy. But I know that happens with newcomers, and it takes time. Rome wasn't built in a day, so my channel's going to take time to grow. So if you can leave your DNA on that like button and subscribe, that would really help me out. If you want to buy me a coffee as well, like at the bottom there, I haven't so far had one single coffee brought for me. Yes, sad case, I know. But if you buy me a coffee, I will really appreciate it. And I will say thank you in advance, because it will mean a lot to me. It means I can put the money towards other equipment I might need, or the framework I've ordered to have the green screens on. I've buy and patterned one so I can change the pattern, and that this one's just a photo behind me. And I wish I did live there, actually. It looks rather nice. So yeah, so once I get to about 75 subscribers, I will do lives and that. And in the meantime, I will be putting video recordings out there every single day. Sometimes I do say like 6 in one day if I've got the time. And then I'll schedule a couple for a couple days' time, so that there's always some constantly being uploaded. I'm not around Thursday because I got a funeral to go to. I'm more likely to be home late afternoon, early evening. So depending how I feel after the funeral of my father-in-law, I might do a video later. So yep, once again, thanks a lot for everybody. And if Jay's mods are here, Symph and oh gosh, what's the other one called? I've forgotten. Synth. Oh no, that's really bad. Well, I'll just do it genetically. If it wasn't for Jay's mods last night advertising my link, I wouldn't have had so many more new subscribers. I think I got 10 come over from Jay's, and Jay is an excellent lady. She is my first go-to. And even if I get as good as she is, I will still carry on following Jay because she's given me so much advice. And, you know, we've sent each other emails and things and that. So I really do like Jay, and you know, I will recommend Jay's channel to anybody. So, right, that's enough because I only wanted this to be about 25 minutes long, and it's now nearly 36 minutes long. But that's just me talking into the camera. But you don't have to listen to me waffling on. Right, on to the next story, and that's so I'll see you on the next one. Hit like and subscribe, and if you can buy me a coffee, I'd really appreciate it because it can go in my mug. So bye for now.